You are watching the Raj Smriti show, and this is a special series on International Women's Day. Today, we have with us Mrs. Kavita Nigam, Chief Human Resource Officer at KARAM Group of Companies. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you, Smriti.
And before we begin, I must say you're looking absolutely ravishing and gorgeous, and the green is like all summerish. I was reading somewhere that you are a qualified doctor. You've done your MBBS degree.
That's right.
But now you are heading the human resource wing of KARAM Group of Companies. So what made you choose to do MBBS, and then what made you leave that for human resource?
So, choosing MBBS, that is like almost 30 years back. So, it was a natural progression for girls in those days. If you're, up to a certain mark in education, in your studies, so either you could become a doctor or an engineer. And for girls it was like, okay, become a doctor.
Doctor was very respectable.
Absolutely. And there was no further thinking about it. I came from very modest background. My father was, he's retired from the Indian Railways, very honest officer. And my sister and I, both of us, we knew we had to make it on our own. Okay. So it was very natural that we had to either study and...
And your mother was a housewife?
My mother was a housewife, an educated housewife. And she kind of motivated us, just like my father did. So, I studied to crack the, entrance exam. And thankfully, I got through Lady Hardinge Medical College. And then I became a doctor.
Did you practice as well?
No, I did not. I did not practice because it was a mutual call which my husband and I, we had taken that by that time I had met him and he was studying to be an engineer from IIT Kanpur. And it was a mutual call between the two of us that, okay, if we go into a family way, then I would like to, look after the children up to a certain point.
Right.
So then I said that it is important that he gets the time to concentrate on his work. And then I thought, okay, career will come.
Yeah, definitely. Because the whole idea of women empowerment that they talk about is that, the girls should be working, you should be financially independent, and then you want us to marry as well. You want us to raise kids as well. But given the workplaces in India, not every workplace is having the creche facility or kind of support system that the society or the community should offer for a working woman. So I think it becomes a very conscious choice for any woman who's ambitious, who's qualified, what path to follow. Absolutely. So I think you made a wonderful decision by choosing, because children are important. There's no point, I feel, you should have children if you don't want to give them that time and education and everything. So what is women empowerment for you, if I may ask?
Women empowerment for me is where the women are able to make a choice on the basis of the path of happiness where they want to, tread. Anybody could have asked me that, okay, you gave up your career for my children. It wasn't really that. It was, I chose to be happy. I chose happiness over anything else. And for me, it was important that at that time, I take a call and, and then when I wanted to get back to work, it was because of my own happiness that I did it.
True.
And I felt truly empowered. I was empowered by my family, by my husband, by my children to make a choice for my happiness every time, So I think that's what is true.
Interesting. Very rightly quoted that it's all about your happiness. You were happy doing your MBBS degree. You were happy when you got married. You were happy when you decided to quit your medical profession and then become part of KARAM when the time was right, when you were kind of done with your responsibilities of a mother. So if we talk about KARAM, tell us something about KARAM, what it is all about, what's the role that you're playing, how is it helping others in the organization?
Okay, so KARAM is actually, we are into manufacturing of industrial safety equipment. So all our equipment is worn by workmen at work sites to keep them,
Safe and secure.
Correct. Against all the hazards that they could face. This is a company which is now well over 25 years old, and we are not only selling in India but also overseas, and we have our own brands also overseas.
Right.
So having said that, we have a very motivated team, and my job is actually to ensure that the team which is in the manufacturing part, stays motivated, and there's so many aspects to motivation. So whether it is, the remuneration on time, whether it is transparency that we have to follow, whether it is building upon all the values and culture that we talk about. So that pretty much falls onto my kitty.
Beautiful. So if we talk about the value system, which I personally feel is the base for any organization to grow and flourish, and Karam has had 25 years of flourishing journey, I think presence in more than 100 countries and offices in 40 locations also. So what are the value system that you have which you try to inculcate in every employee of the organization?
We do have a set of defined values, but if I just sum it up, I think it's a lot to do with integrity.
Yeah.
Integrity is foremost, work ethics is foremost, because even in our Hindu culture we talk about God resides in those areas where the value system is there.
Very true.
So work ethics are very, very important. Apart from that, we do have focus on excellence in whatever we do. So that becomes another Rajesh sir always says that jo kuch bhi karenge अच्छे से अच्छा करेंगे.
Right.
So we will face our ups and downs, and how we have to tackle it. I think that's a part of our value system as well. Keep on looking to do new things. That is also very, very important for us to just propel us further. So yeah, those are the value systems, and I think those are integral to all good organizations.
Very true. If we talk about HR practices, in many organizations, human resource is looked up as a clerical role, paying of salaries, doing of reimbursements, your PPF forms and things like that. They really don't get the opportunity to interact with the employees, do kind of the organizational development that we talk about, the succession planning that we talk about. A lot of organizations don't have that in place. You as a chief human resource officer, if we talk about employee engagement, what all things that you do to keep the employee engaged and growing, I think, at all times?
So I think most important, if an employee needs to be engaged, engagement is engagement to work.
Right.
Basically, people should be happy to come to work. So when are they happy to come to work? When they look forward to seeing new challenges, and if there is a problem, they know they can reach out to others for solutions. So if the solutions are heard upon by the seniors, that's an environment people like to come to. So engagement actually involves so many aspects of how leadership is groomed, how every executive or every workman has to view his work, clarity on what he has to do, what are the deliverables that are expected out of him, is he getting the right training for all those things, are we giving him a proper assessment also of those the work that he's doing. So if all those things are put together and honestly put together, with the idea of not belittling anybody, not bringing down anyone, but with the idea of telling that person that okay, you can do better tomorrow. So,
and I'm sure that the attrition rate must be very low here, and you must be having employees who have served the organization for 20-22 years or maybe even 25 years with the kind of practices you have in place.
Smriti, I'll be honest, attrition used to be very, very low at one point in time. That is, it used to be below 5%. After COVID, things have really, changed. So attrition today is a little over 10% in terms of numbers. We do have our stalwarts. We do have people who have been with the organization for a very good time. But because the organization grew exponentially, we have faced this issue of not having been able to reach out to everyone. So, and that is one of the concerns that we will be addressing this year and going forward, because we don't want to,
lose on good employees.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So, given that it's a manufacturing unit, I think women representation would be less to a certain extent because it involves rigorous work, handling of machines, the 24 into 7 kind of a thing wherein, you have to be on the shop floor even at night. How do you address gender disparity or representation of women in such kind of organizations?
So, Smriti, we do have heavy machinery in the production area. So that kind of, I'm not very comfortable sending women there.
Yeah.
But we do have our admin areas as well, so which is in the front, buildings, and where we have finance, we have HR, we have purchase, and so and so forth. We have the business development team. So we have a lot of women participation out there. So I've come to terms with the fact that, okay, in areas of heavy machinery, currently our infra does not support,
Right.
Employing women on those floors. One day, definitely, that thing will also change when we have more women engineers joining us, and I'm able to, and even our senior management is ready to take up the challenge of creating the infra for women as well.
Women as well. Very true. Karam is also involved in a lot of CSR activities. So, as a Chief Human Resource Officer, I guess it's one of your prime responsibilities also to look at the CSR aspect. Tell us something about that.
So, the corporate social responsibility, when I speak with Mr. Hemant and Mr. Nagesh, who are actually the founders of the organization, they always remind me that, Kavita, our business in itself is such a social responsibility because we are manufacturing safety equipment,
yeah.
Apart from that, of course, as per the government ruling, you need to, have some contribution that gives back to the society, which we always felt even before we became a, private limited company. We always had a little portion of our earnings chalked out for certain areas. So today we are in collaboration with certain NGOs for health and education, primary health and primary education in around parts of Lucknow, parts of Sitarganj, which is in Uttarakhand, also around NCR, Delhi, because that is where we have our major operations going on. Apart from that, we are also associated with the Olympic Gold Quest, the NGO, which identifies, certain athletes at the right time, and then there's a little contribution that goes from us also because they work towards the training and diet of such athletes, and they groom such athletes to, become Olympic gold medalist one day. So we've also been actively in part of that. And apart from that, there are other small NGOs that we do work with in and around Lucknow and Sitarganj. One day we are looking to set up our own foundation where we can go uninhibited in all areas.
Wow, good luck for that.
Yes,
and that's quite a vision because, with such a good employee base and the kind of work that you're doing globally, with a foundation you would be able to do a lot more in terms of helping the society.
There's one more thing that we do, that is, we also are working very closely with the I think it's the IIT Delhi and IIT Kanpur,
the alumni network?
Not the alumni network. It is actually where they do a lot of research and they come out with. So that's also a part of
the research wing that they do.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is also covered under the. So we kind of promote that as well. So,
interesting. So, if we look at the society at large, Karam, I must say the kind of factory you have, the offices that you have, given the heavy duty work that happens, the shop floors are absolutely clean, spick and span, everything is in order. You can't imagine that, such kind of an environment exists with such heavy duty machines, but it's absolutely a wonderful place for any employee, I would say, to work with. Given the scenario of women empowerment in the society, I think we've come a long way, and with people like you heading organizations, which is still, very limited women we find in the organizational roles wherein they are heading organizations, but still we are, growing, and women are taking up challenges. What do you think we as a society, we as a community, or as an organization, we should do to make it completely, no need to celebrate Women's Day? It should be, we don't celebrate Men's Day, so there should be no Women's Day also, I would say, and it becomes a holistic way for everyone to grow. So what, according to you, would be few things or few steps we should take to do away with these things?
I think it begins from home. It begins from home when we have a son and a daughter,
Right.
and when the equality is, spelt out for both. So I'm glad to say that, maybe after my generation, or maybe a couple of more, the next generations which are coming up, I think girls are treated as just equally or even more,
Right.
I think they're doing more daunting tasks, and so I believe that at least amongst the educated lot, one day we are going to see a much better situation for the girls. So it begins from home, and just the fact that you coming and interviewing me gives me a lot of confidence and hope, and I'm sure you've been doing that for other women also. So you're doing your bit, aren't you? Just to bring all the women together and recognize
And
their
celebrate
efforts and
their-
celebrating.
yeah,
So
very
I
true.
think
Rightly pointed out that it begins from the family, and as girls and women are doing things, I think we are now also making our boys understand that the challenges of a working mother, or that household chore is not just our responsibility, they also need to pitch in. So when we make our young boys do all these things, eventually when they grow up, it will all become a nice setup wherein both of them can work together hand in hand, like you and Rajesh sir are working, taking care of the family, everything as a partner, not that it's your job and it's your job. It's no demarcation, it's everyone's job. So what is one last message that you'd like to give to everyone who's watching this video, to the youth or to women out there? What should they do, or what is it that is your takeaway to them?
just do what gives you happiness, and always remember that you alone are not responsible for your happiness. If you have made people around you happy, that's what is actually giving you a lot of happiness. So weigh it out properly, but don't be rigid about like, okay, I've decided to do this only, should not change my course. Just go ahead and do whatever makes you happy and people whom you love happy.
Wow.
And that's what is going to give you actual happiness.
Exactly. So it's like, take life as it comes.
Absolutely.
And focus on your happiness. Make your happiness a priority is what you're saying. Lovely. It was nice talking to you, and an absolute pleasure having you, and more power to you. People should get inspired and lead more women should, think and dream of leading organizations, heading organizations. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Smriti.